Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I am going to be talking to you guys about why the narcissist does not look back. Why does the narcissist not look back? So this topic will be a little bit triggering, but I want to explain why the narcissist does not look back. That's one thing that a lot of times they stand by when they give you the full discard, the final discard, right? Or when the final discard is coming, and you've been grieving because it's coming to an end. That you've tricked yourself into thinking this person was going to change. And I think that when you do have those good moments, sometimes you share intimate moments or jokes, entertainment, whatever it is, right, that brings you close. And that type of closeness, I think what hurts, right, when you're with these type of people, whether it's family, friends, it's the type of affection you have towards them, right? In moments where you're in bliss with narcissist, you're looking at them in their eyes, right? You think you're connected to them. In those moments, you think that, hey, they can't possibly hate me, right? And the narcissist got that, their energy is like, I don't hate you, right? And you're hoping, because in those moments where it seems genuine, you're hoping that it's genuine enough for them to care about your feelings or your pain. But to the narcissist, it's like, I care about you, but just not like that, right? I love you, just not the way you want me to love you. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Or I care about you, just not the way you want me to care about you, because that'll be telling you a lie. Telling you a lie, and to the narcissist, things like that is them coming clean about their intentions. But it might not come, you might not think this, because they might tell you, we'll see in time, or I've had bad relationships in the past, or I've been used, or people have done things to me, and and now I have other goals in mind and other things that I'm trying to do with my life, right? And they're putting so much effort into these things that they got going on. And you'll kind of feel like, okay, well, maybe they work a lot, maybe whatever the case is, because when we're together, we're having a good time. I'm just not going to bring anything else up, right? So to the narcissist, they feel like they've came into an agreement with you, but they won't completely tell you the truth. They won't repeat themselves again, right? They'll just give you false hopes and dreams. This is why they can never commit to you, because in the back of their head, they're still looking at you like the enemy. Meaning that whatever happened in their past, or whatever their intentions are, from the beginning, they said to themselves, these are my intentions, and I'm going to comply by these, and I'm going to fulfill these intentions as long as I'm capable of doing so, right? And I'm going to use it as my to my benefit as long as I can. So a part of them, I would say, it's not them feeling bad, but them kind of like, I wouldn't let that happen to me. I wouldn't let someone do that to me. If someone did this to me, that would be really messed up. Or I wouldn't forgive someone if they did these things to me, right? But they're not feeling bad about doing these things because somehow it makes them look good to other people or to their friends or to their family. And a lot of times, sometimes they're even envious of you. Sometimes they feel like you're not utilizing certain opportunities that you even have. So these are things that will make a narcissist target you, and to them, they don't feel bad about the act itself, because to them it's almost as if, hey, you have free will, and I'm not here to teach you any lessons. You're of age, right? Especially, this is why you have to be careful, especially as soon as you turn 18. You got narcissists that they don't care, they're predators. But you also have certain narcissists that once you're of age, they feel like these are reasons to prey on you and to exploit you and to use you. And once they do, they won't look back. And you're wondering, what did I do? Or how could someone, you might look up to them. You might think it's someone that you can grow with. You might feel like they're spiritually on the same page as you. And then guess what? Sometimes you find out they were living a double life, or they were married, or they have multiple children and they didn't even tell you about these things. And they'll make it seem like, hey, well, you were naive, you didn't know what was going on, it's on you. And then you'll see that people don't feel bad for you. People will say, hey, you should have known better, you should have had more respect for yourself. Oh, girls like you always like the bad guys, right? No one's gonna feel bad. But people don't understand as well the maturity level that you're in, right? Everyone matures in different, at different stages of their life. And some people, seek for validation, or they're seeking for love or attention. So it is literally until the empath goes through so many different cycles of being discarded to that final discard that you will eventually realize that the narcissist, they won't come back, because they know that you're aware that they've been playing a game with you. It's like playing a video game that you're playing over and over and over again. And eventually you realize, hey, we're not a team. Every time we get on this game, you kill me. There's no point on playing this game, because as soon as we play, and I think we're playing as a team, you kill me. So when you get to that point in the game, this is why people say, oh, the narcissist is playing games with you, is because you're playing, but you're not a player. They're using you as someone that they're playing with, and they're like, oh, I already know I'm gonna win because you're invested in me in a way that I'm not invested in you. And that's triggering, right? It's triggering that someone would do that to another human being, to play with someone's life like that. That's what makes the narcissist who they are, because to them it's almost like a child. They don't see nothing wrong with their behavior. They can't understand why it's wrong. They know why it's wrong, but they're like, but I don't see why it's wrong. I don't see why I should follow the rules. What's the point? Right? They'll compare, hey, there's other people that have done worse and gotten away with things. They'll think about things that they actually feel like they got away with. And this is why they don't look back, because to them, there's a list of people that don't want to see the narcissist be happy. So their whole thing is, you could be on that list too. A lot of people are mad because I killed them off the game, right? And a lot of times when you look at the narcissist's life, they're really not that spectacular. The way you idolize them at some point, you realize they made themselves look more than what they actually are, right? They fooled you into believing their beauty. They fooled you into believing that everybody wants them, that they're just so attractive, that even the same sex wants them, right? So this is why you don't hear back from them. It doesn't mean that they won't keep track of you or spy on you. And a lot of times it's just to compete with you, or just to see how you're doing after they've done what they've done to you. And like I've told you guys before, my 90-year-old grandmother got hoovered after my grandfather passed away. When my grandfather was in his 70s, he had passed away. And the first guy she was with before my grandfather, when she was young, before she had children, she had 7 kids, raised, all her children, grandkids. My grandfather died, and she already lived a whole life. And now, in her 90s, she's being hoovered. And basically the dude was like, oh, my wife died, your husband died, we could be friends, we could live together so that you won't be alone. And she's like, look, I got a whole family, I got a whole bunch of kids, like, I'm never gonna be alone, right? So these people, they won't look back. But a lot of times they'll look back to see how far you've came. Oh, you got married. Oh, you had all these kids. Oh, you're doing good for yourself. Oh, you got your own house. Oh, okay, we could live together. Why would she want to live together with you? What benefit does she get from being around you? You think she's that lonely because you're lonely. You're the lonely one, right? For you to be that old and nobody wants to be with me, so let me hoover one of my exes, right? So don't be deceived by that, So like I said, it's triggering to know that someone will leave your side and never look back. Sometimes these people will never look back, and then sometimes you'll think, they'll never hoover you, and they'll hoover you 5, 10, 20 years later. And I'm saying that from experience, because even growing up, a lot of people hoovered me, friendships where people would be like, hey, or, like I said, some of them don't ever want to, they'll avoid you like a plague, right? You'll see them, people that you grew up with, even they run into them at the grocery store or something, they're avoiding you. They don't want to make no eye contact with you. They don't want to be remembered of their past. They don't want to be remembered of who they used to be, and sometimes they don't even remember if they might have done something to you. They're like, I know I was running around with people that might have not liked you or people that might have done things to you. So a lot of people will avoid you for these same reasons, or they might have accused you of certain things, right? Or they made up lies about you to cover up things that they did. So some of these people, you could have, you could have been friends with them growing up, right? I had a really close friend who, she just stopped talking to me out the blue when she started dealing with a narcissist. And I didn't understand nothing about narcissists at the time, right? So it was her going through it. I didn't really understand it. She just kind of went her own way. I didn't think nothing much of it. I thought to myself, like, sometimes friends go through things or they're in relationships, so they don't spend as much time with you. But this was someone that I grew up with, sleepovers, just, in our adulthood, spend a lot of time together, went out to a lot of places together. And, I looked at them like a sister. If someone asked me who they were, they assumed it was my sister. So for me to be that close to someone and then they just disappear, I felt like, it would not be a forever thing, right? So would I say she's a narcissist? I wouldn't say she's a narcissist, but when you're around narcissistic people, you start to develop traits. So at some point, she looked at me like the enemy. Someone broke into her house. From my knowledge, she told her family, or her family told her that it might be me because I'm close to her. And that's something that I would never do. It's out of my character. And I'm like, well, as my friend, you should have stood up for me. You should know I wouldn't do something like that. And after that, it was like crickets, you guys. And like I said, it really affected me because, I didn't have anyone. And that's how I kind of fell into that relationship with the narcissist as well, is that they became that friend. They became a replacement of that person. And, it kind of happened really fast. And like I said, you get around these people and you start behaving that way. And I would think to myself, like, we had a conversation years after, and she basically was explaining the narcissistic relationship. And because I had been through it, I felt like, oh, okay, like we've caught up years later. She's explaining to me what she's went through. I actually understand what she's going through because I actually went through it after her, right? And then we kind of probably were dealing with the same thing, her in her life, me in my life, whatever. Thinking, okay, we're talking, she shared all these things with me. And then after that, I didn't really hear from her anymore. Like, she just ghosted me. And like I said, it affected me again because it was someone I was close to. And then here they go again. Just, I felt like I was used, right? Like they put their how they were feeling on me, but at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe they're depressed, maybe they're going through something, right? But narcissist abuse, it hurt people. So now that's what the narcissist wants people to do. They want the people that they hurt to hurt others. So this is why they won't come back, because a lot of times the people that they target, the people that they destroy, now they don't have enough energy to give to the people around them. They're depleted of energy. And this is why the narcissist will tell you, oh, you won't find anyone like me. You won't find someone else. No one's going to care about you. They'll say a lot of things because to them it's like, they're very aware, of them stealing energy from people and being aware that, you're going to self-sabotage yourself, your relationships with good people. They feel like even though they might apologize, it doesn't change their actions. It's like someone hitting you physically. Your brain cannot forget it. So what's the point on unmasking the truth if the truth is not convenient for them? This is why they're hot and cold. Because to them it's like when someone hits you, someone does something to you, you're always going to remember that. So to them, the reason that you don't hear back from them is because they know the more time they're away from you, the more you're going to replay different things that happen, and you're going to realize how effed up it really was. And how every time they were hot and cold and they were gaslighting you and you were telling them what they were actually doing behind your back, and you knew you weren't crazy. This is the reason why they won't come around, is because they know that they can't say I'm sorry when they weren't sorry because it was convenient for them. So just like that Bible scripture says, there's no truth in him. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Eventually, you're going to realize that the narcissist is a liar. Like, you have to get gaslit to the point where you can no longer be gaslit, and you're like, every time the narcissist says something to you, you're thinking the opposite. Sometimes you're just having a good time with them. Even though they're saying things to you, you're still thinking they're lying. You're still not believing them. And the narcissist sees that shift in you. When they're love bombing you, when they're saying stories to you about other people or you or what happened to them at work, you know that there's truth in some of the things that they're saying, but you know that there's a lot of lies. And once you're aware of this, you will start questioning the narcissist. Your mind will say the opposite of what they're telling you. And if you start telling them these things, their third eye will open, and they'll realize that your third eye is open. So now they will be forced to lie to you, and then you'll be able to see the look in their eyes when they lie to you. Their eyes will start shifting. They'll start trying to stare at you deeply to intimidate you, or they'll simply look away and seem agitated. And if you call you names to gaslight you, or call you insecure, whatever the case is. So when they can no longer lie to you, and they know they can't lie to you, and they can't lie to you with a straight face, they're gonna have to answer to their lies, because it's gonna happen so frequent where you're gonna be questioning everything. And this is why they won't look back, because you're not gonna be easily fooled by these things, right? So a part of them hates you for believing the lie. They hate you for believing the lie, but they hate you even more when you discover the lie, which you would think they would be ashamed or have some type of remorse, but that's not how narcissists operate, because to them, they feel like they've been discovered. And this is why when you give them enough time to attack you, now they're filled with joy, they're happy, right? That's not normal. That's not normal behavior. That's not, they act like cannibals, right? So the longer you're around the narcissist, you're going to realize that you're dealing with a liar. The narcissist doesn't look back sometimes because, they've exposed themselves in order to proceed with the new supply, meaning voicemails. They could leave you voicemails or call you or contact you. And, in my case, at least, this is what I wanted to say. In my case, when the narcissist got with the new supply, but things didn't work out or something, right? It's like they were trying to throw that they were going to move on. They're like, oh, that's why I got another girl and blah, 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 right? Then immediately, like a day after, just blowing up my phone, leaving voicemails. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said those things. I just wanted to make you mad. I don't know why I just wanted to hurt you because you hurt me, right? So they'll expose themselves to proceed with the new supply. So these people will even expose themselves in a way where they're basically exposing themselves because they're letting you know, I'm not looking back. I'm moving on. I've settled into this relationship. I've been settled in it. And now you can move on. They couldn't move on without you. They couldn't just stay single. They needed you. They needed your energy that bad. This is what makes them a narcissist, because if they could just get with whoever they want to get with, and they would do that, they wouldn't need to force someone to submit to them in order to finally say, hey, now I'm going to move on. So a lot of times they will deny that they're leaving you for someone else. They'll say it got nothing to do with it. But a lot of times what you notice with narcissists is that they won't leave to someone else. They won't break up with you until they find someone else, right? If they're the victim like they claim they are, the victim is the person that usually wants to leave but doesn't have the courage to leave. But what's funny about the narcissist is that they pretend to be the victim, but yet they leave and then they move on to someone else. And this is a lot of times how people will figure them out quickly, and eventually the people, their friends, people around them eventually do not. They don't trust, the narcissist. Eventually there's going to get a point in time where the people they were around won't be around anymore. This is why they tend to be secretive, and this is why a lot of times when they start new relationships, they'll even start new friendships, so a lot of times this is why they don't like their friends and the people. They don't like people connecting to one another because they don't want people talking about them once the relationship ends. So this is why they won't look back, is because they don't want anyone that they ever knew, to conspire against them, or people that they know to end up being in a relationship, like their friends end up telling you how much of a bad guy he is, and then you hooking up with their friends. They don't want people to do bad things to them or get over on them. So because it's things that because in their mind, you have to think about it, in their mind, these are things they would do to other people. So the narcissist doesn't look back because they are trying to cut off all ties with you. They don't want anything being tied back to them, and they don't want anything to be tied back to you. A lot of times they've done things, had children with other people behind your back. A lot of the things that these people do, you don't even have a clue. See, you get a lot of the abuse, right? You get a lot of the gaslighting, the slandering, the lies. You're with people who are your enemies, but why have they revealed themselves as an enemy to you? What have you done to them for them to even put themselves in a position to even make themselves the enemy in your life? What is it that would want, that someone would want to destroy you, right? A lot of times you're saying, what does the narcissist gain from all this? Some of the things that the narcissist gains out of doing these things to the empath has nothing to do with money, right? Sometimes it's control. Sometimes it's having somewhere to waste their time. Sometimes it's intimacy. Sometimes it's just not being alone with their own thoughts and their own karma going on in their life. They're the most miserable people when they don't have people to control. They're not willing to give that up, So a lot of times you're thinking, why did they have to do these things to me? Right? The narcissist might have shared some things that happened to them, and you realize they're not a victim, because everything that they claim that people have done to them, they're doing it to you. And then when you're calling them out on it, they get angry. When you're telling narcissistic people, because not everyone who portrays like they're an empath is an empath. There's people who have done things to you who will come to you and talk about their life, their stories, things that they know only you will understand. Only you know these people, right? And when you bring up the things that they've done to you, they kind of sweep it under the rug. They might or might not apologize. They might say, hey, they might not even take accountability. They might say, hey, I was being controlled too. I was going through something too. And you're like, okay, I get it, but that really affected me, right? If you expect it, sometimes you're kind of like, you won't forgive your family member for this, but you did something way worse to me and I was able to forgive you, but you won't forgive your mother for this. You did something to me way worse than what you say these people have done to you. Where's the forgiveness? Because one thing about the empath is we always want to forgive, right? We always want to forgive. These people that you'll see, there's no forgiveness in them. The problem with us is we forgive and we keep getting played, right? They don't even think about remorse. They don't even think about forgiveness. They're just mad, right? And sometimes you can relate to their anger, right? But when you see that these people are so consumed with their own shit, like they make it seem almost like you don't cry, like you didn't have sleepless nights, like you didn't go through the trauma, through the anxiety, through the depression, through the sleepless nights or oversleeping or or not eating or overeating or the confusion. People act like you didn't go through these same things. Sometimes you're still going through these challenges when you're still fighting these demons that just keep popping up in different manifestations of people. And you see that a lot of these people, they're so ego driven because they want you to listen to their story, but they don't really want to make things right with you. Their actions aren't showing it. Their actions are showing, I want you around so I can drop this load on you, right? But they're not really invested in what you got to say. A lot of times you can see the way they see you and you're like, the way they see me isn't how I see myself. You know what I'm saying? Or like the way they see me is the way they see who I used to be, and that's not even me anymore. And it's like you almost have to reintroduce yourself to these people. So what you will see is that a lot of these people, they won't want nothing to do with you, right? And sometimes these people could have redirected your whole, right, your whole world. And their world might have been redirected too. So they might feel like, hey, I was confused too, right? I was in a fog too. Matter of fact, I was in a fog longer than you. Yeah, I came and I gave you some fog, but I was in that fog longer than you. So that could have impacted you. It changed your destiny, and that person's not worried about it because they're looking at it like, hey, someone else put me in that fog. My parents put me in that fog. So now they're fighting their demons with their parents, and anything you got to say doesn't mean anything because they're like, hey, I don't want to talk about what I did to you. I want to talk about my childhood and what these people have done to me. Right? Where they're not putting themselves in your shoes. They don't even understand your struggle, your reality. Maybe they could afford they could have afforded to be in that fog, right? Because they have life skills, because they might not get along with their parents, but their parents put them through education, and or they were able to excel further in life in different aspects. So to them, that fog they put you in, it might have not meant to anything. So it could have destroyed your world, and you're like, this person's a narcissist. But to them, they don't view themselves that way. So once they realize what you had been telling them all along, once they realize the reality, the cries, what you express to them, once they realize that you're aware of these things, that they were clearly aware of them and they didn't care, they were indifferent to it, they might have felt like you even deserved it. That's what you deserve. They might feel like your family doesn't deserve nothing. You don't deserve nothing. You know, they feel like, hey, anybody else would have treated you the same. If I see you this way, other people see you this way, right? The arrogance. So this is why when your third eye is open, these people don't look back. They don't want to see you. They don't want to come face to face with you. They don't even want to think about it because to them it's like if they feel like if they don't make it a big deal, then you shouldn't make it a big deal, and then it wouldn't exist. Like let's act like it didn't happen. If we act like it didn't happen, then it didn't happen. You get me? So the narcissist doesn't look back. They only look back to see how far they've came. You know, how far they've came. Those times when they were with you, the challenges that they went through. They're grateful for you, for the people that were there, right? They're grateful, but not grateful in a way where you should feel you know, good about yourself, because to them it was nothing but community service because they're the ones who benefit from it. So this is why they'll look back to see how far they've came, because they're kind of like, hey, if I hadn't met this person, I don't know, at that time of my life I was doing bad, or I wasn't happy, or I didn't know how to deal with all the bad things that happened in my life, or no one was around to help me. I didn't have the support that I have now, you know. So they do look back, you know, but a lot of times they're not going to give you your credit. They're going to talk bad about you. They're going to tell people how they used you. You know, they're going to tell people the things that they did to you, and they're going to laugh about it. They're going to feel like, you know, you were dumb, you were a sucker, they outsmarted you. They feel like them outsmarting you gives them some type of power or gives them some type of rank, right, as a person in society. So I know that's triggering, but that's just how narcissists function. They don't function the way the empath functions. This is why, you know, the frequencies are pulling you apart. You just can't see these things, but the narcissist can see it because they're the only ones who benefit from it. They have to feed. You know, you're not feeding off of no one, you know, and you don't know what it feels like to feed off of people and be that desperate, because secretly, deep down inside, you don't feel like you have the tools to make things happen on your own. So this is how you get over on people, so you won't hear back from these people when they do this, unless they're having a secret competition with you, or they're trying to compare themselves to you, or they're hoovering you indirectly, block calls, phones through apps, burner phones, social media, email, family, even families do this, where they keep tabs. Oh, how is this person doing? They know you don't get along, but they're still asking how you're doing, what you've been up to, how's work going. They'll say little things because they're trying to get information, but they don't care. Oh, tell them I said hi, I love them, and they know they've wronged you. They don't want to talk about why you haven't spoken to them, but to them, it's for them to look like a forgiving, good person. They'll sit there and they'll entertain people, and they'll say, hey, tell them I said hi, but they know you don't want to hear it. They feel like, hey, that's a you problem, not a me problem. If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. We don't have to talk. I don't even want to talk to you. I'm just asking how you're doing to make it seem like I care, because I really don't care, but I'm trying to throw that person off. Because if it was up to me, I would never speak to you, but maybe this person that's connected to you, I have ties with, so I have to speak to them. But in order to keep that person on my side, or to make myself look good, I have to act like I care. So you won't hear back from them. They do ask about you, but it's not in the way that you might even think. You might even think, oh, they're being nosy, but it might even be them trying, the person that they're talking to you, the mediator in that, they're trying to make sure if that person is still on their side. That person might be neutral to the situation, right? You might not want that person to pick sides, because you understand that it's not about who's right or who. They might not have anything to do with it, or they might have chosen to forgive those people. You understand the meaning of free will. So you have free will, and that person knows how you might feel. So to the narcissist, in order to keep everything neutral, they might say something and you might get offensive over it and maybe feel like they're stalking you. But in actuality, a lot of times they don't even want to look back. They don't want to make contact. They don't want to talk to you. They won't ask to speak to you. They might say something because as soon as they speak to certain people, you're the first person they think of, because the memory haunts them, but they're not going to admit to it. So in order for them to make themselves feel good, they might just say, hey, I hope that person's doing well. They'll say something, and a part of them will feel like they're playing games again. They feel like, oh, that person's going to tell that person, oh, so-and-so said they hope you're doing well. And that's going to trigger you. And a lot of times they know that. So the reason they don't look back is because they know that they keep doing things to trigger you. And they know that your blood's boiling. Sometimes certain empaths, they lose it and they snap and they go off, or they contact these people and they're like, why did you say this? Or why did you ask about me? So a lot of times they're looking for a reaction so they can say, oh, so-and-so called me and said not to call and check up on them anymore. And it's just another way to victimize themselves. The longer you're around these people, you understand that them not talking to you, not contacting you is actually a blessing, because all they do is talk bad about people. All they do is attack people. all they do is project. They only see things the way they see things, through their experiences, through their reality. So they can sit there and tell you, oh, they can judge you even based on your life, things that have happened, but they didn't walk your shoes. They don't understand. So they might look at you like the narcissist, and you're viewing them as the narcissist, because the difference between you and them is that you're not trying to control them and their reality. So the narcissist does not look back because they believe that everything you offered, they already had. So they don't look back because they believe everything that you're offering them, you already gave it to them. You already gave all of yourself. You already gave them the ultimate supply of love. So to them, it's like, even if they get with someone else with a new supply, maybe they're maybe they downgrade it. Let's just say that. Maybe they don't do the things that you did. Maybe they're not as nice. Maybe they're not as forgiving. Maybe they're not as calm as you. They maybe there's more cons and pros. But to the narcissist, if, let's just say, the new supply, the narcissist might not care about the new supply and their values. They might have downgraded to some nasty scumbag, and they might feel like, hey, I don't care as long as I get supply, as long as I get pleasure, as long as it makes me look good. All that other stuff is not important. The loyalty, all the other stuff that you think I'm not going to find anywhere else, and you think I downgraded, all the things you're wishing bad on me about. I don't care about those things. I don't care that this person is not intelligent. I don't care. They're consumed with material. They're consumed with physical. They don't care about those things. Let's get that straight. And you'll hear a lot of them tell a lot of, when you hear these narcissists talk, they'll say that, hey, none of that matters to us. How much money you make, none of that matters to me, right? And they'll say, as long as you cook, as long as you do this and you take care of yourself, that's it. So a lot of women can fool a narcissist and say, okay, that's all you expect of me. Okay, I'll do these things. And when the baggage or the problems come, this is the thing. The narcissist does not care. Fighting, all that stuff is normal to them. So any type of dysfunction, they're not going to care. Now, if that person is someone who's not dysfunctional, then the narcissist will create an environment slowly that will be dysfunctional. So the reason the narcissist doesn't care either way when they're with the new supply is because to them, they've already had you. So to them, it's like, even if I don't get love, loyalty, the things that you offered, I've already had these things before. I've had other exes that did more than you, or who gave me greater gifts than you. So you might have been with them for way more years than they were with someone prior to you, right? You might have spent more time, more years. But the narcissist can be so materialistic that they can say, hey, well, I had an ex before you and they bought me this, they bought me that, so I don't really care, right? So when it comes to emotional support, the narcissist doesn't care. They feel like, I'll find it somewhere else. They feel like, I've already had emotional support. I've already been healed with different people that I've been in relationships with. I've used these people to heal myself, but they'll they'll actually put the blame on these people. They'll say these people ruined their life, these people did things, didn't want them to be happy, but in actuality, they use others to heal, and then they call them dumb, or they call them suckers, or they call them stupid for being fooled, but it was them that a lot of times were healing themselves through other supplies. So when they get in new relationships, they're not looking for anything in particular. There are certain things that, of course, they're going to target when it comes to supply from a supply, but emotional needs, support, loyalty, all the things that you feel like didn't cost a thing, they don't care about these things, because all the things that didn't cost a thing, they feel like they have them. So what do I mean by this? When I say loyalty, love, all these things didn't cost a thing, these were things that you gave them freely. We know that these things have value when you're dealing with people, when you're living with people, when you're coexisting with people. They have value, or else it's going to make your life harder. It's going to bring hell. It's going to bring nonsense, because all you're trying to do is protect your peace. The narcissist doesn't care about peace. They don't care about that. They'll stay up all night and keep you up if they're in a bad mood, right? So these are things that the empath does to bring peace into your life. And you think that when you're being loving, when you have loyalty, you think you're bringing peace onto someone else's life, and you're feeling like these things didn't cost a thing, but they're very valuable in society. The narcissist is looking at it like, hey, you're saying that these things don't cost a thing. These are things you can get for free. So if I can get love, these things are free, I can just con someone to fall in love with me. If these things are free, why would I miss these things? I want money. I want material gain. I want other things. Those things can be bought even. So the narcissist doesn't look back, because the things that become more logic to you, that are very important in your life, and you start to have true boundaries and actually know that you're in a position where your third eye is open and you can't be gaslit, they won't want to come back, because they can no longer manipulate you, and if they can no longer manipulate you or lie to you to where you believe them, the narcissist refuses that you have 20/20 vision to see how they get their karma, because that'll have you paying attention to the karma and why are things happening. So to them, it's like, I can't use you as a shield, and if anything, I'm in danger being around you. Put it like this: if the narcissist was criminally persecuted, right, because they did something very monstrous to someone close to you, someone that you love unconditionally. Think about someone that you really, really, that you would probably even give your life for. If the narcissist does some type of harm to this person, are you going to stand up for the narcissist, or are you going to go against them because they've hurt someone close to you? When the narcissist hurts you, manipulates you, uses you, they're doing twice the harm that they would do to someone that you love, because they're doing it to you. Especially when you know your feelings were innocent. So the reason the narcissist doesn't come back is because they know the type of love you have for them, but they know that the crime doesn't fit them being in your life for the long haul, even as a friend. It's like, it's like having the love of a parent that's unconditional. If you're out and about living your life, doing the things that you want, it's not going to take away the fact that you have a parent at home somewhere who loves you, right? You could feel their love everywhere you're at. So that's what makes it sick, is that the narcissist will exploit your love, say lies about you, but at the same time, they feel content with themselves because they know that there's someone out there, there's people out there who love them, who will forgive them, who will enable them. And that's why they won't change, because they feel like, hey, even though you're not around, you're on the shelf. And that's what really, hurts the empath, because you feel like someone is still getting off on your pain even when you're not with them, right? They're competing with you. They're happier without you, right? So the narcissist doesn't look back because they have nothing to offer you. As the old supply reminisces about the good times, the narcissist actually reminisces about the bad times, about the abuse. So you won't hear about the narcissist, because a lot of times what happens is that when you leave the relationship, you think about the bad shit, because you got a lot of anxiety. You don't know what to do. They don't want nothing to do with you. They're happy. They've moved on. They're laughing. They're trying to cause pain. And a lot of times you're lost, because the things that you thought or expected, you realize that it's just a memory. It's in the past, and you feel like you're stuck in the past, right? And you'll start to eventually, when you get a little bit of peace, you'll start to think about the good times, and you'll think to yourself, does a narcissist think about the good times? Do they miss me? Do they remember how I used to do this, or how I used to do that? Or I wonder if sometimes they regret it, or I wonder if sometimes they want to reach out to me, or if they feel guilty about the bad things that they have done to me, right? Sometimes you'll think about the good things, the bad things, but the thing about the narcissist is that they don't think about the good times, because the good times, it's energy that is going to be transferred into the new supply. So all the good times are going to be transferred into the new supply, meaning that they might even take the new supply to the same places they took you, and to places that they never took you to. So to them, it's like, I'm starting off. I don't care about love, affection, all that, because I got that with this new person. Everything you gave me, I got that. They're transferring everything from past relationships to the next person. So to them, it's like they're living in a delusional world. It's kind of like, oh, you love me, they love me too. To them, it's pretty much transferring. It's a transfer of energies, right? So they're transferring the good energy onto the new supply. So they just like you think, you have good thoughts and bad thoughts, right? About the narcissist. The narcissist will transfer the good thoughts onto the new supply, and they will transfer all of the bad thoughts about the things that they've done, about the things that you did. It'll just be negative things, and it'll build hate inside of them for you. And eventually it's almost like the good part of you never even existed, because the good part is on that person, and now the narcissist becomes controlling over that person. They start dictating that person. They start testing that person's loyalty. They start putting that person through things that they put you through to make sure that they got the same type of love, the same type of hold on that person, and compare them to you. Compare them to people from the past. And this is why you won't hear back from them, because they're taking full control a lot of times over other people now. The shame is used as sadness to victimize themselves to the new supply. That poker face, just like when I left the narcissist, and over a year had passed, and I decided to go on a date with someone who had asked me out, dated them for a little bit, and they had made up a lie, right? They were recently divorced, but they had made up a lie that their wife had died from cancer, and I ended up finding out through a friend. When I went to go visit a friend, my intuition told me to ask her, hey, do you know this guy? I told my intuition, why would I ask my friend if she knows the guy I'm dating? My intuition said, just ask her. What do you have to lose? Asked her. And she goes, oh, I know him. He just got a divorce. I'm like, no, he said his wife died from cancer. She's like, wow, like he killed his whole wife off. So what happens, the reason the narcissist won't talk to you is because they start a new life. And when they start a new life, they use they use a tactic, a way. They need empathy from the people that they target, right? So, oh, I'm divorced, sad story, right? Oh, I have another supply. I'm going to have to make room for this new supply. So I'm going to tell them my wife is dead, right? They might have told that other person they were divorced, but they're still in and out of that person's life. Maybe they're still trying to make it work, but they're still being deceitful. So a lot of times you won't hear back from these people is because they get caught up in their own lives. So a lot of times you can't see it because these people, they move in real quick. But when I experienced this, I knew something was up about this person. It was revealed to me. And then after that, they didn't want nothing to do with me because I saw through them. I saw through their lives, and they saw that I was able to read energy. They could tell how powerful I was to be able to, get messages from God and to steer clear from them, and how, God used that friend to reveal the truth, right? And also to reveal that friend, right? Because she was going to continue talking to that narcissist, and he had to make a choice, and he made the right choice. He chose that friend of mine, and a lot of times the Jezebel spirit wants to compete with you, and she's doing you a favor. So a lot of times you won't hear back from the narcissist because they chose Jezebel. A lot of times you guys say, how come they don't date Jezebel? A lot of times they do end up with Jezebel. So the narcissist, they don't come back because they become paranoid. They have, sometimes they have a baby mom, a baby dad. They have people, past relationships, people that keep coming back into their life that pop up out of nowhere every couple of months or years. So they're constantly paranoid, So this is why they don't come back, because they're used to being stalked. They're used to being stalkers. And they don't come back because they think that maybe one day you'll hoover them, right? Sometimes people spend time like waiting for the narcissist people in their life to hoover them or apologize. Sometimes you wait for them and then you're like, oh, they're not going to come around, and then you hoover them, and guess what? Nothing has changed because it's a game to them. So the narcissist doesn't look back, you know, and they recreate a new story, a new identity. So just as the empath feels like the narcissist redirected and changed their life, the narcissist feels the same. The narcissist blames you for wasting their time. So a lot of times the narcissist becomes a victim with the next person or with the people, their family, flying monkeys, and they'll end up blaming you because once they use you to get what they want, they'll basically say that you were the one stopping them from getting these things, or if they hadn't been wasting their time with you, or if they had never met you, they would have gone further in life, or they would have found their happiness the whole time. So they made up these lies about you, and this is why they won't contact you, because they will contradict what they've told other people. But to add to that too, the crazy part about this is that sometimes they believe their own lies. Like, if they lie to themselves enough, you know how like when you lie to yourself, when the narcissist love bombs you, or you're like on a good note and things have been good for a couple months, you're like, oh, things are looking up, right? And out of nowhere, the behavior starts again, and they're gaslighting you again, and now you feel like you did something wrong. So just the same way that you will even lie to yourself and then even plead with the narcissist and beg for forgiveness or for their attention or for things just to go back to how they were, just how you will lie to yourself, they will lie to themselves too. Like, they'll repeat lies. And I've caught on to that eventually. When you start to know that you're dealing with a liar, you'll realize that a lot of times they lie, and you'll even believe the lies, right? They'll create a whole story, or tell you half stories, or tell you things about their friends, things that are happening to them, and it's really happening to the narcissist. And then you'll give them advice, right? You'll say, oh, that's not right that friend did that. And they'll get mad, right? It won't even make sense. So when they get mad, in your mind, you're thinking to yourself, why are they getting so offended? Because I said that what their friend did was wrong. Like, they were in the wrong, right? Because the narcissist is coming to you like, oh yeah, so my friend, he said that his girl did this, that, and they ended up doing this. And then, she was tripping, right? She was the one that was bugging out. And you'll say, no, because so-and-so, blase, blase. The narcissist will go into rage, and then you'll think to yourself, why are they going into rage over someone else? And then you're also thinking the story is not adding up. So you're discovering their whole lie, but they think they're so smart that you're so dumb. So when you start to say things, now that not only are they angry, but they're like, you're so damn stupid, right? Now they're treating you like you're so damn stupid. So now you'll say, hey, did that actually happen to you? Oh, here you go. You're accusing me. That's why I don't talk to you. That's why I don't say anything to you. So these people are very conflicted because of their own lies. They believe their own lies. So what makes this so much more diabolical is that it's not so much that they believe their own lie, because they know it's a lie, right? These people know that they're liars, but they're not going to admit to it because they have to believe the lie, because that's part of their self-image of what they portray to the world. They have to go against the truth, right? So they have to believe their own lie in order to get into character. So if they can visualize themselves lying, if they could visualize themselves using people and getting out of that situation scot-free and using their past experiences to learn from how they messed up and how they can get away. This is why a lot of people will tell you they don't really change. So that person's still a liar. They're just learning how to lie better. And a lot of times they manage to do this because they use the healed parts of the empath. They use the good, the admiration the empath gets when they do kind things, or when they get affection, or supply off, it's not supply, but when people feel bad when you're going through something, right? The narcissist sees different things that bring attention to a person. This is why they create scenarios, right? They steal bits and pieces of empaths, and that's how they are able to sustain relationships for a very long time. And I also saw this, because I saw how the narcissist interacted with their sibling, and they were very close. But I realized their sibling had empathy and they had none. So they mimicked a lot of information, but their personalities were their morals were different, but in front of that sibling, they knew what to do and how to speak and how to think to make that person believe that they're just alike. So a lot of times the narcissists, they won't look back, they won't hoover, you won't hear back from them, because they know, hey, for a long time, like I said many times before, we like to say, how come the narcissist targets the empath? And, like many say, being a primary source, that's not like, you shouldn't be proud of that, right? And once you realize what they do to you, it really pisses you off that you were the primary source, because you were dealing with a liar, right? And for a long time, just having conversations with the narcissist, right? Just a lot of times I would think to myself, right? They have a lot of information. That's what draws you to them. Their spirituality, a lot of things that you think you're alike in many ways, right? The way they interact with other people, right? They can give other people good advice. They might be talented. They might have certain things that just makes them stand out, right? Or they might possess a lot of information. So this is what will fool you. But then when common sense plays out, or certain emotions that you wouldn't expect the narcissist to act upon, right? The way they behave, the light switch, right? During certain moments, the way they behave, their emotional maturity, you'll see it. You'll see their emotional immaturity, right? And or certain things that you think that they should know, like that are common sense, they won't have. And if you try to tell them, right? Like one time I had a conversation with the narcissist where we were talking about going to Hawaii, and I'm like, you don't even need your passport. He's like, yes, you do. I'm like, no, you don't. It's part of U.S. territory. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, I'm about to look it up. So I looked it up, and I'm like, see? And, it's almost like they try to brush it off. Like, I guess so, right? I guess, right? But they were bitching, right? Excuse my language, but they were like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, just very nasty attitude. Like, you're dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. So eventually, right, this is what I realized I was like, I think that we were just raised very differently, right? I would think to myself, like, they might know a lot about certain things, right? Or certain things I can look up to them, but certain things that are keeping them from growing, I can see these things because in my world, you're not going to make it, right? In my world, I'm like, you're not going to make it. A lot of times, you're actually helping the narcissist grow, mature. Certain things that they come at you with, you will resolve the problem. You're a problem solver, right? So once you realize that this person, they're not as smart as they made themselves appear, the narcissist can feel it. They can feel when you start to, you don't look at them the same, and it pisses them off, right? The narcissist used to, I used to admire, right, certain people around me, and the narcissist would be like, oh, do you like them? And I'm like, no, like, I like their work ethics, like, they're very inspiring, right? And it'll make me work harder, right? And now if I'm being noticed by those people that I look up to, and I'm sharing good news to the narcissist is upset, right? Because they tried to make you look stupid when you already had a life before them, and you know that they keep projecting things onto you. And a lot of times your failures come from their thoughts, from the things that they say to you and how they make you feel. And then eventually they just put you in a very dark space where you don't really care much about anything. That's how they want you to feel. And what you will realize in those moments, right, is that the narcissist will be attracted to a certain type of woman or a certain type of man, or they will be impressed by certain things that do not impress you. You will just start to notice that you're very different, and you'll start to feel, right, like you're not beautiful, or the narcissist, even if you are intimate, you will feel like there's something about you that they don't like, right? Certain moments, they might act real childish, and they get mad because you're not behaving like them. But if you're in a good mood, that's childish to them. So you realize you're walking on eggshells. You can't be happy when you're happy. When they want to behave silly or whatever the case is, right? You're not on their level. Sometimes they want to party. They want to drink a lot. They want to do certain things, behave certain ways, and you become like the opposite of them, even if you might dabble and do things because you want to have fun together, right? You might loosen up just because of them, and they might be the only person to really see that side of you. And you'll start to feel like the narcissist, they like Jezebel. They want me to be like Jezebel. They want me not to have a mind of my own. They don't want me to have common sense. They don't want me to be loving. They don't want me to be happy. They want me to have the spirit of Jezebel. So the reason they don't come back is because they know that everything you thought that they liked or they wanted, eventually you realize that they were gaslighting you, and that's why they don't come back, because eventually you're going to realize, hey, that person, they don't just want empaths, they want the Jezebel spirit. They want a narcissist. They're after a narcissist because it's a pattern that they've done to other people and that other people continue to do to them. A lot of times when they're with you, they got people from their past that hoover them, and they won't tell you about it. They'll disguise it as, oh, an old friend of mine. Or sometimes they will tell you, oh, my ex hit me up. And then you're kind of looking at them like, how do they have your new number? How does your ex from years ago have your new number, maybe the narcissist has had multiple phones since, you know, the period of time you've been together. So the narcissists, they don't look back, and they even avoid you because they know that you expect them to come clean. But like I said, what's the point on coming clean when they benefited from it? So you don't hear back from the narcissists. They become the new supply stalker. The narcissist will start the accusations with the new supply. They will start to draw back from the new supply. They will even, reach back, call you. You won't hear back from them again. The narcissist will set rules for the new supply. The narcissist will not give them compliments. The narcissist will not support them. The narcissist will refuse to look back or allow themselves to play. So they begin to fight attachment. So the narcissist will basically begin to fight against attachment, intimacy, and it's just to see how much the new supply yearns for that intimacy. They'll rage at the new supply, so that it can enable them when they have mental breakdowns. So they will rage to see how that person handles them when they, can't control their own rage. So to them, it's like, I'm just testing to see if you can handle my rage, while it might truly be affecting that person because they might not be used to that. They will cheat. They will speak to strangers. The narcissist, you guys, this is someone who, will sit there and catfish someone on the internet while laying next to the new supply. The narcissist has moments where they might even want to use you again, but because they know by your silence that you know what they've done to you, and they don't want to look you in your eyes because your third eye is open. They don't want to be around you because they would have to see you in awake state of mind. So the narcissist doesn't want to look back because they don't want to feel like their life is in danger. They don't want to feel like, they feel like thoughts are very powerful. So you might have inner thoughts or feelings of hurt, pain, revenge, and they don't want to be around that. They don't want to go through the karma in front of you. So this is why they'll avoid you. The narcissist, they don't have any peace with their past. So like I said, this is why they're constantly creating, new memories. Lastly, they won't look back because they've gotten ill, they've lost someone close, or they might have even gotten into drugs. And, I've seen it, I've experienced it where, you don't hear back from someone, and the next thing you know, they're at the liquor store asking you for 25 cents. And I'm telling you, or they've lost someone. When they're going through things, they feel like you will laugh at them. They feel like you won't genuinely be there for them, and they don't want people that won't genuinely be around them. And they know that you're going to say that because you've always presented yourself as a good person. They know that you're the type of person that will tell them, hey, I'm not like that, I'm forgiving. They know that there's a possibility, but to them it's like they almost feel like they don't even deserve it. They don't deserve your kindness, and they don't want your kindness because they weren't kind to you. They're like, I'm not expecting your kindness because, you know, I wasn't kind to you. So this is why they'll stay away from you, because they know that a lot of times, you know, to them it's like they'd rather pay for their actions without you having to know or see it. It gives them some type of, you know, it gives them some type of self-respect for themselves. So they don't want to give you any self-respect, right? They out in the open disrespect you, but to them, suffering in silence is better than suffering and you being aware of it. They, again, have no self-control and will hurt you trying to hurt themselves a lot of times. They'll hurt you, instead of trying to hurt themselves, and dealing with the consequences of their actions. So a lot of times, they don't return because things have gotten worse, and they know that even if you were to be kind, right, and even if it was something, if you were doing something from a friendship point, from a friendship aspect, a lot of times they know they've wronged you so much that they're like, I can't even accept that. Even if it's convenient for me and I know you're nice, I can't accept that because I know that I'll just do the same thing that I've always done to you. But this time, I'm aware that I'll do it probably worse. It's probably going to hurt you worse than last time. So I'm not saying this because the narcissist somehow has empathy enough not to come back and play you again, that they won't come back. But when they don't come back, it's because they already know how it's going to play out. They already know how they're going to behave. They already know that they haven't changed. They already know that they don't feel bad. They're not remorseful. They're proud of their actions. They're okay with bad karma. They're like, okay, whatever. It comes with the prize. It's part of the territory. Right? They're like, oh, if I got to pay for the crime, it is what it is. If I got to pay for it with the next person and they're trying to give me the karma for you, I'm going to make it hell for them. I'm going to abuse them. I'm going to abuse them more than you. Because it's still a game to the narcissist. So they won't come back, not because they don't feel like they could, because in their mind, they feel like they can. And they feel like even if you were not to want to talk to them or ignore them, they feel like I'll still do it just to do it, just because. And to them, it's like if I'm able to get in, cool. If I'm not, cool. And if I'm able to get in, I already know I'm going to do the same thing over and over again. But this time I'm going to do it worse. And it's going to hurt you, but you've had enough time to heal or to clear your mind. So I already know I can't go back, because if I go back and I do what I do and I do it worse, you already had enough time to plan things out. You already had enough time that, yeah, you could say you're going to forgive me, but knowing my behavior, if I do something worse, I already know you're not going for it. And when I do something worse, I'm going to put myself in trouble, and it's going to make me want to hurt you, even though I know I'm in the wrong, but you're in the wrong because you should know not to answer to me, because it's taking a lot of self-control for me to leave you alone and stop playing games with you. So if you don't hear back from me, you should be glad. I did you a service. I gave you a free game. But if you don't understand the game, then I'll come back, I'll do it again. I'll come back years later to test you out. I'll call you just to see if you'll just answer my call. Just a simple answering the call is fuel to the narcissist. It's like, oh, you're going to actually answer my call? I got people that won't talk to me at all. You still answering me? This is fun. They feel like they're on a chat line or something. It's fun. They like, oh, I'm just gonna talk into the phone and talk crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they think. That's how they process things. And this is why you won't hear back from them, because they're like, I'm gonna do something worse. You've had enough time to mature, to clear the fog. Next time, I might beat the hell out of you. I might drag you down the street. I might push you out of a moving vehicle. I might do something worse. I know it. I know it, and I know it because I know you. And I know you're going to cry. I know you're going to want me to feel sorry for you, and that's going to piss me off even more. And that's going to really make me want to really drag you. Because this person hates you. It's triggering, I know. That's how I felt. Still, when I think about it, it's kind of like crazy how these people will feel that way. And that's how I know the difference between, like, you know, someone who might just cheat on you, or just, you know, who's a player, you know, or might not even be a player, but just learning through life, and someone who's committed this crime multiple times. That's a narcissist for you. They've done it before. It's people that won't never talk to them, and they know it. That's why they know that the silent treatment is impacted. See, they learn these things. That's why they know it's impactful when they do these things to you. They know that it hurts, that someone never validated what they did to you, or someone never was remorseful for what they did to you, no matter how kind you were to them, how much you uplifted them for years, right? So this is why the narcissist won't come back, because they're like, if I slap you on the side of your head this time, right, and do something worse than before, now it went from mental abuse, maybe financial abuse, now it's going to be physical. And they're aware of it too. They're aware it's going to become, they already planned it in their head. They're psycho. And they're going to say, hey, you know, and this time you're so smart, you got boundaries, you're going to call the cops on me. So guess what? I'm not going back, because I'm not going to go to jail for you. And you're like, oh, why don't you just be nice and be a good boy? Because I'm not a good boy. I'm a bad man. You get it? It's triggering, but it's a bad man. It's a bad person. It's a bad woman. It's a bad being. So the narcissist won't come back because they don't love anyone. And they already know that they're going to hurt you. They already know that you're going to talk about love, and you love them, or you care about them, or they already know these things. You don't have to keep telling them. They already know. All it's going to do, it's going to piss the narcissist off. It's going to make them want to abuse you more. And if you defend yourself, they're going to say, see, you don't love me. You're defending yourself. Yeah, I almost tried to delete you, but you should have never told that person I almost deleted you. It's not like I deleted you. That's what you're dealing with. So a lot of times they're doing you a solid one. That's why you don't hear back from them, because they know their behavior. They're going to say, you don't know what love is. You don't love me. You don't put up with my abuse. You're not going to put up with it. They're telling you it's going to get worse, and then they're telling you, if you don't take the pain that they're going to inflict, then you don't know what love is. So They don't want to hear about love. It's going to piss them off. Love to a narcissist is them being able to use you, exploit you, and leave without you feeling a thing. The narcissist is basically wanting you to enjoy their treatment. They want you to let them be themselves. That's the ultimate, that's the ultimate way that you can show them love, right? And even if you were to do these things, then love to them is being able to dispose of you without you feeling offended or upset, right? So the narcissist, their definition of love is control, and even if you were to tell the narcissist, right, to be with a Jezebel spirit, the narcissist seeks control. They don't want someone that they can lose control of and who will submit to other people. So because of this, the narcissist finds it impossible to find what they want, and this is why they lie. This is why they lie, and this is why they don't return back, because there's nothing else that can fog up your mind from the reality of things. And that's something that most people can't deal with unless you're a narcissist, right? You can't be around someone, be intimate, laugh with them, go hard for them, and then just say, okay, that was fun, and not feel anything or pain or, you know what I'm saying, loss, right? So the narcissist they don't want to hear your emotions. They don't want to hear none of that. They feel like they've lost more than anyone. So they don't come back because they feel like their losses will always be more than yours. No matter what you go through, no matter how much they put you through, they feel like you could literally, I'm telling you, when I lost, my baby, and I told the narcissist, like, you don't know what I experienced, the trauma that I feel going through this, and all these months, waiting and for something tragic like this, and the pain that I went through, you would never understand. And the narcissist said to me, oh, I've been through way more than you. And me just being a woman, to the narcissist, they don't like when you say, oh, you're a woman, and you're experiencing something. They don't like that. So they don't come back because they don't even want to acknowledge the things that you go through that they don't go through, because they feel like their life, their role is harder than yours. Because a lot of times when you don't hear back from them, you might think that they're positive, they're nicer, but a lot of times they've gotten worse. Their anger has gotten worse. And they might even feel like, I'm not coming back because next time I might even delete you. That's how much my anger is. Like, you'll piss me off so much. You'll piss me off to the point where I'll want to delete you. So it's like, 7 demons worse than the last time come back, like that Bible verse scripture says. So the bad spirit goes out and brings back 7 other spirits. That are even worse than itself. They are even worse than itself. They all go into the person and they live there. Now the person's life is even worse than it was before. The same thing will happen to you. Bad people who are alive today. So not only will bad things get worse for you, but bad things will also get worse for the narcissist. And this is why they will not come back, you guys. So I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace in your healing. I hope that this video was helpful for your healing, for your understanding. I know it was kind of triggering, but it's the sad reality of dealing with narcissistic people is that they won't talk to you, and it'll be their own reasons, and you might question it, you might wonder. A lot of times it doesn't even matter because you got to deal with the consequences of dealing with them. You have to work through your issues, but there are times where you might wonder, or you might understand their motives. You might start to understand why they did what they did over time, and it won't make it right. And you will think to yourself, will this person ever apologize? And then eventually you don't care about the apology. And then time will go on, and it's almost like they never even existed. But the scars are still there. The pain is still there. And it's like they became a ghost. So you will wonder why you don't hear back from them. A lot of times people think that the narcissist is out happy and stuff, and I'm going to tell you now, that's not the reality. That's just not how life works. People aren't always happy, especially people that are that tormented, that paranoid, always looking after your shoulder, always having to time everything. Everything is on a time limit. They take the new supply somewhere and they're on a time limit. We got to get out of this location before someone sees me, because that's just my luck. So I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace, and your healing. If you guys enjoyed this, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you guys want to book a session, you guys know my book information is always on the description. And I'm sending you guys lots of love. Talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.